Hello, this is Jeremy with SpraySync. Today I'm going to go over some of our form options that we have for tracking typically temperature and wind, and some of the image output and new options we've added recently to these. So what I'm going to do is kind of a quick walkthrough of just the form part of it. So the first form I'm going to kind of talk about, I'm going to kind of walk you through some of these, sort of like a use case of like, hey, here's what a customer was doing and here's how we accomplished a good form to make that same type of reporting. So I've got here a North Dakota right-of-way daily records report. So this is, there's not a lot of states that have, I feel like, something where it's provided and everybody kind of uses the same report, but this happens to be, North Dakota happens to be a state where pretty much every county does this type of report. Every state might have similar standards, need to capture the same things, but not every state provides like a, hey, here, use this form. So this was an opportunity where if a state has a form that's a standard, it makes it easy for us to put some time in to build something to kind of mimic that form. So what we have, just kind of glancing through this, right? It's pretty common stuff if you have to do any sort of forms, right? It's your kind of county or township, who did it, what's their certification number, what's the name of the person, the date, and then one of the unique things that I don't really see across a lot of the ways people are doing reporting is that every single entry that you make, that you stop, you take the temp, wind, you also track individually for each one of those periods of time. You track the acres, the weeds, the gallons diluted that have been used. So that's a little bit of a unique thing. A lot of times it's like, you do a daily report and it'll have your overall acres, and then you might have your temperature and wind readings just in like a little table, but ultimately you don't have like this concept of a time period where, hey, I'm going to take my temperature, let's say it's every hour. So 8 o'clock, I'm going to put something on here. I've got maybe 0 acres for the first reading. Second reading is at 9. Well, how many acres have I covered since the 8 a.m. one? This provides kind of an interesting one of our reporting features that we added here. I'm going to kind of emulate this. I've got a live tablet up here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go through here. In a typical day, this would be a very first start of the day for me. I haven't sprayed anything yet. In the bottom right is where you add your form. So we have an add form or log button. It used to be called log, and then we kind of switched to kind of calling it form. So I'm sort of leaving both terminology in there for a little while until we're sort of fully rolled off of the old log. I'll call it form in most places that I refer to it as. So I'm going to first look at this North Dakota Daily Report. So I set up 3 things I'm going to demo during the video today. So the first one is this specific North Dakota Daily Records Report. And it'll first prompt you with, a time range. So this is just saying, like what time are you starting? So it sort of just defaults it to the early, today, 12 a.m., just like what was today. So you can change that if you want to. But ultimately, like right now, the time is 4:44, 4:45. So it defaulted. It took a snapshot of that time. So, we've designed this so, and you'll see on the next form that it'll kind of remember the last time you submitted it and then kind of auto-populate the times for you. So I think most cases you don't ever have to modify this. So I'll just hit next. Temperature, let's say it's 58 degrees out. The wind direction, we just got to drop down here. And some of these things we can customize a little bit and stuff if you don't, if you don't want a wind direction in words, but maybe you want the wind direction in like degrees or something like that. So you might have something different, but either way we can accommodate that. So wind velocity, let's say it was 8 miles an hour. Edge of road, and acres 0. So this is actually being computed as 0. We haven't sprayed anything, so it makes sense 0. There's no weeds, there's no chemical data, there's no total mix applied. So, and then this one sort of has a reset acres accumulator that's checked, and that for this type of form, you want to keep that checked, just the default. That will reset what we have off to the left, and also remember your time for the next time that you enter the form. So this is kind of an accumulation of a form throughout the day. So I'm just going to hit submit. It's going to prompt me for my signature. I'm just going to do like a 1 because it'll be kind of easy to see kind of the sync the order of our stuff. So that drops a point right there. If I jump over to the web dashboard and I filter real quick, you're going to see that right there. I can view, and I'm going to see all the stuff that I put in for that form entry. And so I'm not going to talk about the export yet because I want to go through at least one iteration of this where. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to spray a little bit to be like what we would do in the real world. We'd take this, but by the start of the day, we'd take our temperature wind, we'd go out and spray a little bit, and then, an hour later, or when we switched jobs, or, we picked stuff for the day, we would do another entry. So I'm going to start driving, I'm going to drop a few, and then kind of zoom forward to the end. So, all right, so I've gone ahead and sprayed just a little bit, just a few turn the switch on and off 4 times. There's the original, log entry. I can tap on that. And you can see what you put in, even your signature and everything. I kind of drove north on the road here, even though it's not really aligned up right now, but that's north, and so now I'm stopped. Okay, so I'm going to take another temperature. One thing to kind of notice here is over off to the left in the bottom left-hand corner is this acres. This is kind of an acres accumulator. That's kind of that accumulator, that reset acres accumulator that we're talking about. So I kind of think of that as like a trip reset, but this is like a way to sort of see, it'll reset back to 0 at the beginning of the day and after every time you do a form. So you can kind of see, what's been going on. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to jump in and I'm going to do another form, do that same form. And so notice it remembered the last time that once I had submitted, it remembered that time from before when I had submitted the form. So the start time automatically defaulted to 4:46, and then it snapshotted when I launched this thing, so 4:49. I'm gonna put another temperature reading, wind direction, wind velocity, and the edge of road. So again, these are things from this North Dakota. The edge of road. So, maybe this isn't really needed anymore that we've got the GPS coordinates, but, we're trying to meet requirements. So, all this stuff is flexible. We can change things if we need to. So it brought in the acres from your spraying that you had done since the last time you did the form. I had the Canada thistle button checked, so that's why it has that there. And then I have a test supplier and test chemical, just placeholders, and it will track based on our acres. Each one of these had a flow rate, so it'll say how many ounces of each chemical and how many acres were applied. And then I also, that chemical load, I happen to have sorry, I was blocking there. On the chemical load, I have a total mix flow rate. So that's that's your overall, that's like your everything dilute, adding water with the chemical and everything. So that's something you can have in there too. And that the reason we have that, right, is we've got this gallon diluted material you used, and so we want to have all these fields that we are looking for in that to emulate that PDF report. So again, I'm going to go ahead and submit. I'm going to sign that and I'll submit that, and so it drops a point there. So this is all good. So we're going to now go over to the website. I'm going to filter this just to refresh it. And now you see that the spraying comes in, if you've used the platform, you've seen this before, and has those same, that 0.150 acres, has our 2 forms here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and do an export. And so how this export is designed, it's going to give you a nice output. And it's also going to show, so we have a couple of them. If you're familiar with exporting these before, we used to have just a row and column, just basic Excel table format, but we've got something, this new one is this kind of advanced new report format. So I'm going to hit that. It might take a little while to run. What we're doing in there is it's kind of a background process. So technically, you don't have to stay here and wait for it if you don't want to. It shouldn't take more than, 15, 20 seconds or something, but this will here it'll refresh. You're kind of noticing you're seeing it like refresh real quick. So it's running on the server. It's in the as a background process. And then if you ever like something is running, it's taking a little bit of while. If you have a big job, it might take a long time. If you're doing a huge period, like a week or a month or something, it could take a long time. I'm talking like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So you can always go back and like click on the tasks tab and you can see it. We'll go over that in a minute. So it's done. So I'm gonna hit download. It's downloading Excel file here. It's almost 12 meg. I mean, there's some. It's making an image is what you'll see here. So this is bringing it up in Excel, and you can see. I'll probably zoom in a little bit here so it's easier to see on the video. So what we're doing is again we're trying to kind of get something that's got a lot of the same information that the Right Away Daily Records Report has in Excel. So it's something that if you need to modify something or something was you forgot a description or you wanted to put the address in there and you wanted to fix it up real quick, you could do that. So but it's also can print it out pretty good in Excel if you want to. But this is also a nice format, right? You just like toss this if you want to save these around or you have somebody you need to send them to. Throw them in a folder that you've got on your computer and you're good to go. Otherwise, these things are always out there. You can always get these in the past and do reporting for any time period in the past. So we've got the date. So it just sort of says date range. I just did this for the 1 day. So it's just got today. I've got all my information, contact info in there, the name of the job that I was on. So then here is where it comes in. These are the 2 entries that we did, the 2 temperature. So temperature, wind, all that stuff is coming through. The weeds, the chemical data. You can always make that fit better. It even brings a signature in there. Start time, end time. So it's got all that. And then down here it also has the chemical supplier, the overall information, and the chemical load information, which was our kind of bringing in this kind of corner area down here off to the left here that you see in the PDF, kind of bringing that in. The chemical load supplier, EPA number, the flow rate that it was configured at, and then the individual acres applied and chemical applied for that. And then we also have, it will bring the satellite image and what you sprayed in the bottom. So this is one of the relatively new things. So this is going to bring in the same images that you have over on the tablet. I know there's kind of a little anomaly here, but that's actually in the satellite images that we get, that we have on the tablet. And so it'll show you what you actually sprayed there. So you kind of have a record, and that how that determines, what to show here is just based on your, if I go back, it's this time range. So, if you pick a shorter time range, it'll just show that. So it's getting some from, the information that you saved here, but then the rest of it is, so it's kind of a unifying between like the maps that are sort of kind of traditionally up at the top area that you can view, and then at the bottom. So if I go here too, right on the site, I can click and go to the map page, and I'm going to see, if I pop in here, go to satellite, I'm going to see this exact same thing. So it's kind of nice. Like, so the tablet, the website, the download, everything kind of uses the same image platform for the tile. So everything is there. So you're seeing, we're trying to make sure all the reporting is consistent. You can always see it. So one of the important things to realize is that it's here, and this can be more of a permanent storage thing, but you also have it out here. It's not going away. You can pull this day at any point, decide a year later to come back and look at this day. You can actually see the live data, click on this and see exactly what's going on. So that's kind of our kind of new advanced reporting. So this image stuff is kind of relatively new that we were able to find a way to include this information in there, and then giving the extra fields to start to get really close to something that can be almost a replacement for this PDF report. Along with the signatures to make sure, because there is a signature field at the bottom, so having that in there too. So anyway, so this. This is something that everybody who is a North Dakota county will have this report in there, and it'll be enabled to have that additional export button. So when I go back to the dashboard and I see this and I have this export, you'll have the original one, which we still left in there because maybe people were using it before and wanted just the raw table format. But this is the new one, the North Dakota Daily Right-of-Way Records Report button, and that's what gives you the newer Excel output. So, and like I said, if there's things in there that you want changed, you would like yours a little bit different, you can let us know. We can work with you on that. We can find some time, and if it's not too significant, it's something we can just do real quickly. If you have more advanced different ways that you want to do it, you don't want to do it like this, you still want the same information, but you have a process you're already working with, let us know. It's a thing where we've got a good system set up where we can customize this for you, so we can work out some time to do that with you. So anyway, so that's the North Dakota.